and eyes, or in all eating shame and frivolous praise. How much more praise deserved by these youths if thou couldst answer, this fair child of mine shall sum my count and make my old excuse, proving his beauty by succession thine. This were to be new made when thou art old, and see thy blood warm when thou feelest it cold.
Okay, all right, thank you, David. Um, we're gonna come back to this one and analyze it, because I think you'll see a lot of similarities in these sonnets, maybe even the usage of some of the same wording throughout, because it is basically talking about the same subject matter to some extent. So we're gonna come back with an analysis of number two in just a little bit, but I wanted to read all of these first. So notice, as we're reading these, if you see similarities. Okay, let's go to sonnet 3. Somebody want to read sonnet 3?
I shall do it.
All right, go ahead, Justin.
Okay. Look in thy glass and tell the face thou viewest. Now is the time that face should form another, whose first repair is now thou not renewest. Thou dost beguile the world, unbless some mother. For where is she so fair whose unheard womb, uneared womb, disdains the tillage of thy husbandry? For who is he so found with thee the tomb of his self-love to stop posterity? Thou art thy mother's glass, and she in thee calls back the lovely April of her pride. So thou through windows of thine age shalt see, despite the wrinkles, this thy golden time. But if thou live, remember not to be thy single, and thine image dies with thee.
Okay, good. Thank you for reading that, Justin. This is a pretty loaded poem with a lot of stuff going on. So we will come back to it. Let's go on now. I've got them a little bit out of order. Why don't we read 12 first, and then we'll come back to 14. When I do count the clock that tells time, I'll just go ahead and read it, since I already read the first line anyway. When I do count the clock that tells the time, and see the brave day sunk in hideous night, when I behold the violet past prime, in sable curls all silvered o'er with white, when lofty trees I see barren of leaves, which erst from heat did canopy the herd, in summer's green all girdled up in sheaves, borne on the bier with white and bristly beard, then of thy beauty do I question make, that thou among the wastes of time must go, since sweets and beauties do themselves forsake, and die as fast as they see others grow. And nothing against time's sky can make difference, save breathe to brave him when he takes thee hence. Okay, another one. Are y'all, anybody starting to notice some type of similar theme going on here? Time, yeah, absolutely. You're exactly right, Tyler. So time, a little bit like Ozymandias here, right? Okay, very good. So let's go ahead. I'll read number 14 since I have it right here in front of me. Not from the stars do I my judgment pluck, and yet methinks I have astronomy, but not to tell of good or evil luck, of plagues or dearths or seasons' quality, nor can I fortune to brief minutes tell, pointing to each his thunder, rain, and wind, or say with princes if it shall go well, by oft predict that I in heaven find. But from thine eyes my knowledge I derive, and constant stars, in them I read such art, as truth and beauty shall together thrive, if from thyself to store thou wouldst convert, or else of thee this I prognosticate, thy end is truth's and beauty's doom in date. Okay, so a lot of similar themes going on, but I'm going to let y'all analyze them, and let's get down and dirty to the nitty gritty with the analysis here. Okay, let's see. Perfect. Okay. I'm gonna let y'all do sonnet 2, right here. Okay, you 3 can do sonnet 3, okay? Make Trevor pull his weight over there. Now, I don't want y'all looking them up on your phone either. Look at phone, look at, he trying to hide that phone. I know you can Google what does sonnet 3 mean. Look that phone up, okay. Right, let's go, do 3, then you 3. I'm gonna have y'all do number 12. Then I'm gonna let you guys do 12. Okay? I'm gonna give you 10 minutes, and I want you to do a deep analysis. Remember, these are written to the fair young man, so keep that in mind. Fair meaning not necessarily blonde, but handsome, very handsome. I think that does play a part in this. 10 minutes.
Not that way.
All right, why don't we see what y'all came up with? Virtual students, I'm sorry, I forgot to turn that off, so I'm sorry for all the silence in there, but I'm going to be loading these poems on Google Classroom for you so that you'll be able to look at them and follow along with what we're talking about today with our analysis. All right, so let's go ahead and see what y'all came up with. Sonnet 2, when 40 winters shall besiege thy brow. I love that first line. Think of it. 40 winters. First of all, I'm taking a little of offense that Shakespeare thought in 40 years, if your brow will be besieged. What does that mean? Besieged by what? Old age, I guess. Ugliness. I mean, what in the world? I don't know. Whatever. Okay, go ahead. Just 40 years, that's my problem. He should have been saying 80 or something.
Well,
80 winters, not
They
40.
didn't live as long back then. So
They
40 was.
You're right. I'll cut him a little slack on that. But anyway. Okay, now go ahead.
Okay, so instead of being old, you should have a child to carry along with this, like,
Bloodline and
Yes.
youthfulness.
yeah.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Remember how we talked about, remember, these are written to the fair young man, so the handsome young man, and, he's saying when you get 40 winters, you're not gonna be so handsome anymore, fair young man. And what do they mean? What did he mean by dig deep trenches in thy beauty's field? What's he talking about there? What would be the deep trenches in it's messing up your beauty, the deep trenches. What would it be talking about? Wrinkles. Wrinkles. You get a wrinkle, you are suddenly old and ugly. Oh, this just gets under this sonnet too, all under my skin. Okay, that's exactly what he's talking about. Thy youth's proud livery, so gazed on now, your beauty, or handsomeness, fair young man. Everybody's gazing upon your handsomeness. But one day, it'll be tattered, and it'll be ugly, you'll be ugly. Then being asked where all thy beauty lies, where'd your beauty go? You're not so pretty anymore, handsome. I mean, that's what he's saying, man. You'll have deep sunken eyes. Be shameless. I mean, it's just like, we're an all-eating shame and thriftless praise. How much more praise deserves thy beauty's use if thou could answer this fair child of mine? So he's being explicit right there, and when he's talking about, but y'all exactly got it. He's telling this fair young man, handsome young man, that in order to keep your youthfulness, and so that others will, and yourself too, will remember that one day, or that you used to really be handsome. When you hit 40, forget it. But then when you were younger, you were very handsome. The only way to be able to remember that is that you procreate. That's exactly what he's talking about. Have children. Because you are so handsome, you're going to have beautiful children. And then when you look at them, you'll remember then what you looked like when you were young and handsome. That's exactly what he's talking about. Proving his beauty by succession 9. So you can tell somebody, I may be old and haggard now, but when I was young, I was handsome. Look at my child here. I look just like him. That's exactly what he's talking about. Okay, good. Sonnet 3.
It was like have kids to preserve your legacy so that you're remembered when you're gone.
Okay, yeah. More about keeping kids. And he's even a little bit more expressly, this part kind of cracks me up a little bit. Now is the time that face should form another. So, okay, your face, you need to have a child so it can have your face, whose fresh repair if now thou not renewest. Though, okay, something about a mother, you gotta unbless someone. Well, let me read that part. Thou dost beguile the world. So beguile means, everybody's looking upon him. He's so handsome and all. Unbless some mother, for where is she so fair, whose uneared womb disdains the tillage of thy husbandry? So he's saying, basically what he's saying, and then a little bit later he says, thou art thy mother's glass, and she in thee calls back the lovely April of her prime. He's basically telling him, you need to find a beautiful wife so y'all will both have beautiful children. And there's no beautiful woman that is not going to want to have your beautiful baby, handsome man. I mean, that's the crux of this. So, that's what he's saying, that your posterity, your lineage is dependent on you having children. So that's basically what he's telling him. And I love these last two lines, the couplet. But if thou live, remember not to be. Die single, and thine image dies with thee. So he's basically saying, if you don't get married and have children, if you die single, then your good looks are going to die with you. Huh? I know, he's not missing any words there. Okay, let's go on to 12 then.
Okay. What I put was like, as the days pass and things grow old and they wither with age, and as the seasons change, time goes by fast, and everything comes and goes, and nothing's there forever. And there's nothing you can do to stop time and maintain the beauty of your youth.
Okay, so again, I hate to keep bringing up Ozymandias, but you think maybe Shelley, when he wrote Ozymandias, was thinking Shakespeare and these poems here? I think maybe he was, because there's again a lot of the same thing going on. Nobody stays beautiful and young forever, or handsome and young forever. We all get old and die, basically. And when I behold the violet past prime, well, what does that mean? Who would be the violet? Who do you think he'd be referring to, a violet? Think about it. A violet, let's just say it, a violet past her prime, so he's talking about a woman. When I behold a woman past her prime, in sable curls all silvered over with white. So remember, and he also is making a lot of alluding to seasons in these poems, these particular ones we've been reading, which again, remember, in poetry, in literature, season's always important. So he keeps making reference to gray, old, cold, winter. All right, so the ending of life and the ending of that cycle of life. And so he's talking about when sable curls, so sable would be black, or would be black, are now silver, is what he's talking about. So when he sees a woman that's past her prime and her once beautiful hair is now silver, it's white, and then he's comparing that to when he sees lofty trees barren of leaves. So we're talking about the winter here. And then he's comparing it in summer's green, all girdled up in cheese, born on the byre with white and bristly beard. So he's talking about youthfulness versus old age. Thou among the waste of time must go, since sweets and beauties do themselves forsake and die as fast as they see others grow. And nothing against time's skies can make deafens. So, you can't beat time. Time is going to win every time. There's nothing that you can do about it. Say breathe, except to procreate, to breathe, to brave him when he takes the hint. So he's talking about to save your breed. So, have children. That's the only way. You can't beat Father Time. He's going to win, but what you can do is have children that bear your image. Okay, let's do 14. Kind of the same, but a little bit different though. Not from the stars do I my judgment pluck. Hey, guys, what y'all come up with?
A prediction of the future.
Okay. Mm-hmm. He's talking about, and yet methinks I have astronomy. So astronomy would be looking to the stars. But then he has, however, when I say that I look to astronomy, or I can kind of tell the future, I'm not talking about, I can't tell if, you're going to be lucky or not, you're going to have good luck in the future, or if you're going to die, or the plague, you're going to get the plague, or anything like that. That's not what I can tell. But I oft predict that I am in heaven. Wait, so the princes But from thine eyes my knowledge I derive, and constant stars, in them I read such art. What does that mean right there? In constant stars, in them I read such art. What do you think he's talking about there? Art as truth and beauty shall together thrive. If from thyself to store thou wouldst convert. Notice there's lots of references, or not lots, but here for sure, he is again referring back to the arts. So meaning, and we talked about that a little bit yesterday, or not yesterday, last week, I guess Thursday or Friday. We talked about how he had that one poem that we read, it was Sonnet 18. And again, the way that someone can live forever would be through the arts. So in, poetry that's written about someone, in paintings, that's how someone lives on forever. And they continue to be youthful. So that's what he's talking about when he's, he's looking to the arts to, that's how he can tell the future is in the arts and seeing that someone is living forever through paintings, through poetry, this sort of thing. But again, at the end, the couplet, if you prognosticate, thine end is truth and beauty's noon and day. So again, these, by the way, make sure you might want to jot this down, are actually poems 1 through 17 are called the procreation poems. Because, they are all written to the fair young man, but they're giving him advice that he needs to get married, he needs to have children. Because basically, he says, if you stay single, you're going to end up by yourself one day. You'll end up old and alone, die single, and thine image dies with you, and nobody will ever, you won't have children or anyone else to look upon and think, there was a time when I was young and youthful and handsome. But your lineage lives on when you have children. And so you can see yourself in your child, in your grandchildren. So that's what he's telling. Don't regret one day that you haven't had children. So that's why these are called the procreation poems. All right, I'm going to give y'all another packet. It's not that many, but it sounds like a lot when I say a packet, but it's really not 4. What I can do, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and give you this little package. We will come back to 18 through 126, which is still to the the fair young man, but they've changed tone very much, just as these do. So 127 through 154, and I'll give you a few examples of those latter number poems, are now addressed to the dark woman. I think I mentioned her a little bit last week. There's been all these, people scholars and such, trying for hundreds of years, trying to figure out who the dark woman may have been. Nobody knows, except Shakespeare, and maybe the dark woman, I don't know. But she's someone and she's the subject of these poems that I'm giving out to you now. And these really take a different tone. These are very dark. And there is certainly a lot of shame and guilt associated with these poems. So y'all can go ahead in your same groups and start looking at those. Let me see. I'll get you guys over here, 127. Y'all can have 128, 129, and 130. And we'll look at 131 together, okay? So y'all wanna go ahead and start looking at these, and we'll look at them, go over them tomorrow, and I will get those other ones. Sorry to be sitting around. Turn it off the other ones about the Farion, I think I did. I love the one that says something. Actually, you go ahead and then I'll copy it. Virtual students, we'll finish up talking about these poems tomorrow. So in the meantime, I will put these on Google Classroom.